Tarot. Welcome to Angels Fly Tarot. I'm Nancy. For those of you that know me, you probably wonder where I've been. Well, I've been being educated on certain aspects of life. These were scenarios that I foresaw unfolding for years, up to about 15 or so years. And so now it's starting to unfold, and I'm trying to deal with and cope with the circumstances and situations at hand. It's very difficult to ride a wave when the wave comes in as something that you don't want to deal with, and you've known forever that you don't want to deal with it. And you try to change the circumstances and situations so that they don't unfold, but yet they do. And so today I'm talking about lies and the dangers of lies and liars and lying itself. What is lying? I guess is the first question we should answer. And so I've written down the definition of what a lie is. A lie, as defined by www.dictionary.com, is a false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive, an intentional untruth, a falsehood. A lie is something intended or serving to convey a false impression or an imposter. A lie is defined also as an inaccurate or false statement or falsehood. And finally, a lie is defined as to speak falsely or utter untruth knowingly, as with intent, once again, to deceive. What is the danger of lies is what we're going to discover during this brief video. Well, the first thing we need to look at when we're discussing this subject matter of lies is the actual lie and the motives behind one line or the lie or a lie. Then it's the actual liar, the one who is giving an inaccurate or a false statement with the intent of deceiving. And then there could be also co-conspirators to the lie, people that help support the lie, knowing truthfully that what is being uttered or said or spoken or stated is not true. And then finally, it is the observer or the watcher. And so, why am I talking about a lie or liars or lies and lying? It is because I have been being educated on the subject matter for many years in my life. And I just took it as, of course, a personal lesson, personal insight into the power of lies. When I say personal insight, what do I mean? I mean, based on my various life experiences, I've been able to easily identify a lie, that false statement that is uttered from a person, a liar, who makes the statement or speaks the lie intentionally for the purpose of doing what? Deceiving another. What I learned in the course of my life is that many people that tell lies are not lying to themselves. Actually, they're being truthful with themselves, but they are lying to another or others for the purpose of disarming the other or blocking the other's intercession into whatever that person's motive is. Let me see if I can clarify. What do I mean by motive relative to a lie? I personally have come to believe in the course of my life that before a person tells a lie, they have a motive. A motive can be a desire, a want, a need. It is a physical urge or some type of physical um, lust or longing or desire one has in order to pacify um, their own urges. They have this desire to experience something, whether it's love or fame, fortune, um, friendship. It could be anything, anything that a person longs to have. And that very thing may possibly have eluded them in their lives. And because they want something so desperately, and because it comes from a very psychologically core place or the subconscious, it's like that longing is like a beacon. And many times that beacon is answered, that summons is answered. And the spirit, well, how can I say it? First, it is the opportunity a person has to um, partake in what their desire or urge or want is. The experience arises. Let me kind of stop here or pause, because right now we're beginning to talk about Venus, the morning star, or Lucifer. And that is when that desire or urge or passion one has, that opportunity manifests in the physical or offers itself to a person, that desiring person. It manifests in their life. The opportunity to have the love experience, the opportunity to have friendship or connection, the opportunity to have fame or fortune, but it has a cost. And the cost can be either, I'll say the planet Saturn 9, either Saturn as far as Satan or Saturn as far as restrictions. What am I saying? I'm saying when a person has these urges and desires, wants, longings, they become a beacon. It's a prayer. Like, oh, please, it's a wish. It's just the overwhelming desire. It is a part of the law, we can say, manifestation. It comes from the psychological place. And so a person wields the creative energy of the fifth house of Leo, wields experiences into their life so that they can have those desires and urges fulfilled. Once a person is within the experience or among the people or the circumstances and situations that allow them to partake in those desires or get close to those desires, to taste them, to begin to pacify that urge and that longing, that deep psychological urge and longing for that desire or passion or aim, need or want, whatever it may be. Of course, it is unique to that individual, what they actually are longing for. Once they get that and they get to partake in it, then they're confronted again with the Saturn 9 energy. Either Saturn becomes Satan itself, and that person gets caught up in the circumstance or situation that has manifested in their lives, that they are able to partake in their passions, their aims, their desires. They are allured, like, and captivated. And many times there are many life lessons that exist in that experience that these people, a person, has to work themselves out of, if they can. If they can, it will require the other aspect of Saturn, which is the light aspect. The one I just spoke of is the dark expression or negative expression of Saturn. Now I'm speaking about the light or the positive side of Saturn that says, okay, initially, when one gets to partake in their dreams or ambitions or passions, lusts, desires, whatever it is that's unique to that person, that's tantalizing to them and seducing them, is this want, this urge. A person immediately becomes aware that they could get caught up in it, and so they know that they have to do the Saturn thing. And the Saturn thing talks about being disciplined, ordered, structured, being under a regimen. It's putting boundaries of use, I'll say, or boundaries to indulgence in that thing for the purpose of not being caught up, not being engrossed in it through indulgence. Or a person may be required to just limit something or restrict it from their lives in order to not be enthralled and encased in that thing, caught up. Still dealing with the lighter side of Saturn. If a person does begin to partake in their unique longings, ambition, physical, worldly desires and passions and things like that, and they get to the place where they're becoming entangled with it, then they can break free at any time through those same rules or ordinances or policies or regulations that Saturn represents, which is what? To refrain, to put boundaries around something, to control it, to contrast, or constrict is the word, the usage of those things or that thing or involvement with that person. That's the only way to break free from the Saturn 9 energy. Once you are captivated by the Venus, the morning star, or Lucifer, which is also what? A person's wants, needs, desires, urges. I gave the example of love, wanting love or needing love or friendship or fame or fortune or some form of physical worldly satisfaction to quench some thirst and some longing. That's what Venus is. That's what Lucifer is. When I say Venus, Venus is the morning star. Today we're talking about the dangers of lies. And so a person has an urge, a longing, a desire, becomes a beacon, an experience or circumstance, situation, or person. Experiences come into that person's life, it manifests, so that they can partake in those very things that they have longed for. And a person either understands that they have to have some boundaries or restrictions or some rules to follow when engaging with these particular things, as they may become a vice or an addiction or something that's hard to release. And many times the things that a person longs for or desires or hopes for or what do you call it, people, I heard this when I was in the church, they make these things their God. They're God, and they give all their energy to it. Then a person can get caught up, and they have to, in order to be released from such constraints or bindings applied by the rules of Saturn. Again, talking about restriction and denial. Now, for every person that ever existed, in the course of that process to being raptured or caught up by one's longings and desires, there's always an intercessor in the middle, somebody that wants to stand in and intercede, They want to stand in or intercede, or called to intercede in order to bring that person that has been longing for something um, light. Bring them light, because at that time they can't see. They're blinded by the morning star, which is Venus. They're blinded by the satisfaction, the opportunity to pacify those deep longings and urges they can't see. And so the intercessor is a part of that story. And the intercessor, I think I'm saying it right, is there to point out that a person is in danger of being embroiled and intertwined into something that can ultimately be a stagnation to their advancement, or will be detrimental to their positive forward movement in life. Hence, here is the place the lie is inserted into the storyline. A person that has been having these longings and have the opportunity to have the experiences to satisfy their unique longings, whatever they may be, will formulate lies in order to offset, push back, disarm the intercessor, the person that's asking questions or trying to shed light on something that has the potential to be toxic or detrimental or hazardous to the person's health. And because the person that has had the longings and desires and urges for something or someone in particular is so desperate to partake in that very thing or those very things, and they don't want anybody to stop them, not at all. And so what this person does is they begin to create various lies, false statements and tales, again, in order to disarm the person who is attempting to be an intercessor and or shine light on potentially, again, detrimental experience that can be detrimental to them. And so when a person blocks out the intercessor, it is a summons. At this point, it's a summons. This is summoning spirits to come in or to be active in that person's life. And the summoning of spirits is, or relative spirits, to the actual initial motive, that urge, that passion, that desire. Again, it's a thin line. And the thin line is where life is showing the person that has the longings for satisfaction of something or pacification of it. So the satisfaction of it first. That this is this thin line that exists where there is an announcement or is a time period, a brief time period, in which it is announced to the person that has these longings that they are now indulging in and enjoying, most likely, many times, that it's time to let go, put the boundaries up, or restrict oneself. When a person, part of that process, or that warning, or that red flag, is the coming in of the intercessor that says, hey, stop, look at this, these are the facts, this is a possibility. And during that time period, When a person rejects the intercessor, rejects the positive or light energy of Saturn that says put up the restrictions and boundaries, that is the summons of spirits that are relative to that person's original motive or ambition, desire, passion. What do I mean? I mean, for every desire a person has, um, there are, it's not just that initial spirit, like of love, desire for love. Uh, if a person is having, the opportunity to experience a form of love, belongingness, or connectiveness, and it's with the wrong person or for the wrong intent or something like that, that's when the Saturn energy is activated and it says, hey, put these boundaries up. And the intercessor comes and says, hey, this is not true love. This is not love. I think you need to look at it, um, differently. You need to take your emotions out of it, that kind of thing. When a person rejects all of the red flags and signs, love has its, we can say, minions or relative spirits or familiar spirits. When we have imitation love or a negative expression of love, then the minions or the relative spirits or familiar spirits are things such as being possessive, jealous, um, jealousy to the point of violence. It can represent opening oneself up to emotional and psychological manipulation. These are all additional spirits or familiar spirits associated with the negative expression of love. These are the minions. These are the babies of love, of artificial love. Now that concept is true for any area that a person desires or longs to experience. It is relative to every desire and passion. If one was to partake in any area of life and it is a negative expression or a negative experience, every single time that experience will, before like really bad things start to happen, there's always the announcement, there's always the red flags. But many people do not listen to the red flags or acknowledge them. Um, and why is that? It is because they want to continue to indulge. They want to continue to have those urges, those longings, those desires, those passions, whatever they may be, passive satisfied. But once there is once it is that rejection to again put the boundaries up and restrict oneself or limit oneself or exposure or to completely uh, deny oneself um, interaction with whatever that thing or form is, then again, it's the intercessor that comes and points it out. It's the final red flag before we can say all hell breaks loose. And so the lie, again, is there to block out the intercessor, that final red flag that lets a person know that their very initial motive, aim, passion, desire is about to give birth to its minions or um, familiar spirits that are associated with it. And all of these minions or babies or familiar spirits that are associated with a urge, a passion, or desire will also carry the negative dark energies, which will continue to press that person to change. And change what? Or not to change, but it is to change, but it's more of to execute the energy, again, of Saturn, the restriction, the now limiting oneself. And remember, today I'm here to talk about why lies are very dangerous. Lies are very dangerous because number one, it's a rejection. It is a rejection to salvation, or a rejection to cutting your losses. It's a rejection to um, it's a rejection to any intervening forces that are coming to try to save a person that is in this type of situation. And it is also the summoning again of those spirits. And so lying in itself is dangerous because it ushers in or summons. I know you wonder, many of you wonder, how do you summons a spirit? This is an example, is what I'm trying to get out. This is an example of how one summons spirits, summons evil entities and principalities into their life. That's why it's so dangerous, because a person ushers these things in. And not only do they usher it in, the rejection ushers it in. It summons these spirits in and ushers it in and initiates the relative life experiences to that initial motive. We always got to go back to whatever the initial motive is. And that is where the actual overcoming exists. Going back to the example, if somebody's initial urge or desire or passion is love, if that's their motive, then a person has to come to accept that say, particular person is not the one that they can experience true love with. That's the first step. The first step to recovery is acceptance. And so that is an example of what a person would have to go back to and deal with the initial motive and understand that all love ain't good love, and to be able to release whatever they're fixated on, release it. Maybe a person has to come to accept that it's possible that they never experienced true love in their lives. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow, especially for a person that has that urge or desire or need for love. But that is the actual thing that a person would have to accept in order to begin to overcome or to banish, I'll say banish the spirits that have been summoned. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, we talked about what a lie is. I defined it. We talked about a liar. Now, we know what liar can be anybody. A liar is a person that, again, has that urge or desire, and I've gone through that whole scenario, and they are the liar. We found out why they lie. And then another dangerous aspect that exists relative to lies, and lying are the co-conspirators to a lie. These are people that are very, very dangerous. They don't have your best interests at heart at all, and they will help you, assist you in the fall. Now, I can go in and probably do a whole video about the co-conspirator relative to the lie. These are people that, again, are themselves spiritually weak. They don't have your best interests at heart, and they will back up any lie that a person tells that they're, I don't want to say friend because that's absolutely the wrong word. I'll say their associate that is using whatever lie that person uses. The co-conspirator will back it up, knowing that it is a lie, is a witness that is a lie. And so that's a very dangerous, very, very dangerous person to be around. And so what am I saying? The liar, the actual liar, the person with the longing is dangerous mostly to themselves. And then the co-conspirator is dangerous to the liar as well as to anyone else. They are corrupt spirit and a misleading spirit. And then the next thing is the observer. I have been, as I shared, an observer of these type of things in my life. And what things am I talking about? Lies, liars, and lying. Um, the observer many times is the person that intercedes or tries to point out that something may be uh, wrong or flawed or toxic or corrupt or possibly detrimental to a person's well-being in this physical world. And a watcher is um, not only uh, the intercessor, the person trying to intercede on behalf of the person that can't see, the one on behalf of the person that's been enchanted by something. Um, they are also a witness and a testament to the deceit, and what it actually entails in the end. And not even it's just in the end, it's this whole process, but then it's this final outcome due to being well, I can say due to which let's say Saturn energy, maturity, mature decision making. I'll say, as far as restricting and denying himself, a person's self, limiting one's exposure, and those kind of things. And so the witness or the observer gets to see the outcome of a perpetuated lie. The perpetuated lie that was knowingly dispensed, and the whole thing is the observer, the witness, the intercessor already knows the truth. And but many times, even though the intercessor knows the truth, it's nothing that they can do. Their whole role, the intercessor's role, the observer, the witness's role, is to merely play one of those red flags and step in to try to stop someone, try to wake them up or give them enlightenment about that which is to soon unfold or transpire in the person's life that has had these longings or these motives that have been that they've been so totally enchanted by, you know. And so they play that role. Now, it's another concept associated with lies, liars, and lying that I want to talk about. And it's where a person lies and they are, I want to read some synonyms for Lucifer. Now, some of the synonyms for Lucifer or Venus or the morning star. Remember, that's the manifestation of, we'll say, your heart's desires. You get it, right? Is that a synonym is bedeviled or being bewitched or enchanted or charmed or baited in or enticed. Now, once somebody takes the proverbial hook of Venus, the morning star, or Lucifer, then remember, if they don't follow the rules or limit themselves, they become Saturnized, I'll say. They are ensnared. And once the ensnarement comes, if they still can't do it, if they cannot follow the rules or set up the boundaries or restrictions, then it is torment, frustration, a person being plagued with that very thing that they long for, or some offspring aspect of it. It is them being a person being taunted and tortured. And like the co-conspirator, this is what I kind of want to talk about. The co-conspirator is Is it just a co-conspirator? My notes are all over the place. Just wanted to deliver this message because I've had it for a mighty long time. And what I'm actually seeing is it playing out once again. This is something that I first saw happening. I saw it happening many years ago, and I did all that I could do in order to try to stop it or, you know, to influence it in a positive manner. And yet it still unfolded. And I'll say this, let me kind of digress from talking about the co-conspirators and lying and liars, is that it's very difficult when a person can see, we can say see into the future, when you can foresee. That is a great responsibility. And I know you heard that old quote, with great responsibilities come great duties. With, with great duties, with great gifts come great responsibilities. That however that goes, and that is so true, and it is overwhelming. And I deal with so many things just because I'm me, just because I'm Nancy. I have a particular relationship with this physical world and this physical existence. And it's not a crystal staircase, like Maya Angelou said. It's not that. Actually, it's quite the opposite. And and so that's one of the things I have to cope with or deal with is my actual physical relationship with this realm. Then it's this whole thing that I have been able to foresee into the future of people, of physical worldly existence and experiences, those kind of things. And I, as Aquarius, futuristic vision, you know, visionary, um, relative to humanity. Humanity is composed of what? Right now, about 7.5 plus billion people. And those people that I'm in intimate contact with, I can see their paths clearly. Of course, the further out a person moves from me, the more faded or shadow or misty the information is. And so when I see things come into existence, you know, it takes a long time. That's why I brought the futuristic part of it. Sometimes it takes a long time. Like I said, this has been going on, I had foreseen 15 plus years ago. And so I had put in so many, I'll say, work hours to try to change pathways. And it happens so often. It's across the board. Too many times I know y'all say I look tired. I do. I do a lot of spiritual work. I'm an empath, and it has this wear and tear on me. And for real, it ain't no benefit in the physical. It's a gift to know so that I won't get sidebarred, I guess is the word, you know, caught off guard, effed up really. But at the same time, to know, again, it's a great burden. It's a great burden. And so I deal with that. Seeing into the future way far in advance than many of the people that I really interact with or encounter. And that's been the truth of a truth relative to my life for all of my life. So I digress from that, from sharing about my personal challenge and struggle at this point in time. So the truth of the matter is, it's not really my battle, but as an observer, a witness, an intercessor, you know, prayer warrior, however you like to label it, it is exhausting. And again, there's no benefits. It's a double-edged sword, and it's just a natural part of me. So I digress from that. And I go back and want to talk about, before I close this video down, basically the co-conspirator. and how, oh, I'll just say the liar. The liar. Not so much the co-conspirator, just the blatant, downright person that does a lot of lying. A liar is a dangerous person because a liar, again, makes these or speaks these false statements knowing that they are false. And therefore they are con people, they are manipulative, and they are misleading whomever they're lying to. And if a person that is being lied to is not aware that a con or a game or manipulation is taking place with them as the direct um, enemy, like the liar lies to an enemy. This is another aspect. The liar lies to an enemy, someone that they pose as a threat in some way. This person, this liar, is a person that, what in Christianity, Bible, quote unquote, I keep doing it, quote unquote, because it all coming full circle, is that um, they lay in wait. They create traps and lay in wait for the demise and destruction of an individual or another. Um, that they, the liar, just a blatant liar, uh, is saying the lies and spreading the lies in order to gain support, in order to, um, we'll say, bring down that other that is a threat to them in some way, and has all intent of destroying that other person one way or another. But it was something else in particular. Um, Setting the trap. Some other con artists. Okay. Other words that I want to use is a liar can be, when they do these kind of things, when a liar lies, not for um, the not for the purpose of freeing themselves up to indulge in their desires, wants, and needs. Not that type of liar. No, I'm talking about the other liar that just, it's not about a desired, say, personal desire, want, need for the fulfillment or um, satisfaction of their physical, worldly want, five senses or something like that. Not that liar. This is a liar that just, again, has they have a ill intent for another, and their motive is that ill intent for another. They don't want to see that other thrive. They don't want to see that other live a life that is, good. For whatever reason, it could be jealousy, revenge. A person can be vindictive, or vengeful or spiteful when they lie. And it's all setting up this intricate trap in order to ensnare and to destroy that posed threat or that other person that they don't have good intentions toward. And this liar, this type of liar, is, again, a person that misleads, misinforms. They help to redirect that other person's focus or interests by lying. And remember, it's all a trap to destroy another or to bring them to a low state. It was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember. And I wrote down a few notes, but I wrote down a few notes, but didn't put them in order, just jotted them down everywhere. Like I said, I was, I'm dealing with it. dealing with this here in this spirit. Um, Before I go, I just want to go back over and talk about the spirits. There are spirits associated with whatever a person's motivation is. Remember, um, what one longs for, desires, needs, wants, that motivation. When it is answered, it is like proofed, checked by life and life experiences. And when I say checked, I'm talking about, is the answer to one's longings what they need to really satisfy them and to help them move forward in life. And so that's why the experience occurs that send out red flags if it's not. Now, if it's appropriate, if one's longing for love or friendship or fame or fortune, if they have lined up with the right other entity outside of itself, then these red flags won't show up. Then the intercessor won't speak out. And then you know you can move forward. But if life comes to proof or to check, to see if what has manifested in your life is appropriate to help you move forward and advance in life successfully, and those red flags start to pop up, is really, really important. Number one, to pay those red flags attention. But if you cannot, because you are too blinded by the light of fulfillment, pacification, indulgence, then when an intercessor steps in and begins to warn or point out or shine light on that which may seemingly come into existence because of that person's lostness, of a person's lostness, of possibly your lostness, then you need to pay attention at that time. Because what I would like to get through to you is, at this point, upon the rejection of that intercessor, those other spirits are summoned. That's the summonsing. And that's what I want to. It summons so many spirits. So a person is no longer just dealing with love or friendship or companionship. A person is now having to deal with all of its offsprings, its negative expressions, offspring, like friendship. If you're in communion or attachment with the wrong people and they're not your friends, and they really don't even stand the status of even being called an associate, now that doesn't mean person, the relationship really low. Then what comes after that when you don't pay attention, when you don't set up the boundaries, or you deny the intercessor, however that intercessor comes, person that comes. Then when we are in association with people that are really not our friends, it is betrayal. There are lies and gossip and various forms of manipulation. There is, what's it, deprivation, deprivation. I think I'm saying it right. It's late of one's character, you know. And if a person still doesn't learn, that lesson goes deeper and deeper into what they call the bowels of hell. I don't understand what people aren't getting. I know I have a hard time articulating these various concepts, but then comes another layer. It goes deeper and deeper until a person could spike another, you know, the liar that is laying in wait, or a person allows themselves to be around this person. Because remember, a person, if they don't release, then they open up all experiences, or summons all experiences and all entities, bred entities, to come in and to do what it does, and it's trying to say stop, stop. But many times people don't stop until their life is destroyed or they're dead, and that's the reality of it. And that's real for me, like a real heavy burden. And so I just wanted to share this little bit of information. Hopefully it makes sense. I know I was all over the place. But nevertheless, I do thank you for dropping by here at Can Angels Fly Tarot and allowing me to talk about lies, liars, and lying. Until next time, bye.